Microsoft Azure Review. Microsoft has invested heavily in its Microsoft Azure public cloud architecture over the years, with a particular focus on infrastructure as a service. Linux users are presented with the option of utilizing Microsoft Azure, which is worth exploring regardless of operating system preference. Only the cost and its average performance hampered the experience. Microsoft Azure has high compatibility with Linux, including virtual infrastructure guest operating systems in the Linux-based Docker container architecture. Microsoft Azure supports both Linux and Windows, with a selection of ready-to-run applications and languages available. It is possible to quickly set up a website with support for .NET, Java, PHP, Node.js, and/or Python pre-configured images. On Windows, Azure Resource Manager makes it easy to deploy most Windows Server applications. For example, a high-availability SharePoint deployment can be configured in around an hour. This includes 9 VMs, a group load balancer, 2 AD domain controllers for a new Forest domain, 2 SQL servers, and 4 SharePoint VMs with a SharePoint farm. Compared to what would typically require a week of work in an in-house environment using bare metal machines, this is quite fast. Microsoft Azure is simple to get up and manage. This is due to Microsoft's user-friendly sysadmin tools. They have offered support in many forms, such as certifications, blogs, how-to videos, white papers, and informal talk videos on the Azure website and TechNet. Microsoft PowerShell is regularly used for complex operations beyond a simple GUI, as it has grown in complexity over the years as well as power. An experienced Windows sysadmin should usually be comfortable with Microsoft Azure despite this steeper learning curve. The benchmark was conducted on an A1 Azure VM with 64-bit Ubuntu Linux 14.04 LTS for 24 hours and Python 2.7. The setup consisted of a single-core CPU, 1.75 GB RAM, and a 40 GB virtual hard drive. A Windows Azure small image only showed 13 MB per second data throughput speeds according to Cloud, thus not providing sufficient performance for those who require high speeds and may require them to choose another IaaS solution. Microsoft Azure is expensive, yet their performance results in it being second tier. Microsoft Azure has global cloud centers and existing Windows Server/Hyper-V users would be most comfortable. Companies already invested in a Windows-centric world will benefit from Microsoft Azure. With its recent open-source software inclusion, Microsoft Azure is worth paying attention to for potential surprises. Organizations that use Windows Server as their standard platform are prime candidates for transitioning to Microsoft Azure when they move to the cloud. Azure is also compatible with Linux and has a multitude of ancillary services.